with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me.
Tested. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. I hear the water's falling. Hope you guys are doing great. Good to see everybody climbing into the portal craft as we disembark. I urge you all to keep your arms and legs safely within the car as we go through the portal, because you may just pull back a stump. I can't be held responsible. So welcome to the show, everybody. I think I might have to cycle TFR here to see if we can improve this. Not that I don't love a little staticky waterfall, but let's see what happens here. TFR, I'll be right back with you in just a moment. All right, so listen how much better that got. Let's see how we do this time around. And we are connecting, and we are connected. And it is crystal clear. How about that? That's the good news for tonight, is that we have the ability to chase out that staticky hell that was just in the ears. But the bad news is that we still don't have the phones. I don't know what the hell's going on. They were working for a while. Now they're not working again. So I don't know. I'm just kind of verklempt. But I did say verklempt, which is Yiddish for something. I'm not Yiddish, so I don't know what it means, but I assume it's frustrated. I assume. Excuse me, hold on. But I had a busy day today, ladies and gentlemen. A really cool day, though. I went about an hour, 40-minute drive away to a bigger town. Say I live up in a small town in the north of Idaho. But I went to a bigger town called Spokane, Washington. And was over there because I was visiting the studios where they are filming the Bigfoot Today, which is a new series that's out and pioneered by our good friend Stephen Major of Extreme Expeditions Northwest LLC. So I hung out over there and spent some time with he and Mitch the Man Johnson, and that's what they call him. So I'm just sticking with the vernacular of the show. But I did take a photo. If you want to see some photos of being over there in the studio in Spokane, and of the set and stuff, and it was a lot of fun. It was great time to watch them do the show. Now the interesting part is that for some reason they want me to come and guest host next week. So I don't know if they know what they're in for, but no, I don't know. I it's gonna be a great time. I'm gonna go over there next Friday and guest host with Mitch, and Steven's not gonna be able to be there, but hopefully I can fill the chair okay and have a lot of fun doing it. And I'm looking forward to it because it was really a neat experience. Again, those of you on YouTube can see the screenshots, but if you want to see photos, go over to the Brent Thomas Facebook page. I took a few photos I took a photo. I took more than that, but I only posted one, but of the set and being over there. It was really cool. So special thank you to Steven for allowing me to come over there and check it out. And even even more so for asking me to do it. Again, I just hope I can do a good job because I've guest hosted for other shows before, and it's always a bit intimidating because you're filling somebody else's shoes. And, you just hope that you first of all, you hope you don't embarrass yourself. And second of all, you hope that you can do a good job and represent the show well. So that'll be happening next Friday, after which I'll be coming home here. And God willing, the phones will be working by then, and we'll have Deb Varner on, and she'll be doing free psychic readings to callers of the show. And it's just our way to give back to you guys, the listeners, because I know you guys love those reading nights, and many of you have called in and taken advantage of those. And I get so much great feedback from those. So it's a real honor that Deb's willing to come back again and do it. It's kind of a Christmas deal. Our way of saying thank you to you guys, the listeners. She's going to be here next Friday. Yeah, God, I hope the phones work, or I'm going to have to figure out a plan B for that real quick. So that's on the to-do list. I didn't have any time to work on it today, obviously, because I wasn't even here. I was out on the road all day. So that's all the upcoming stuff. So I'm really encouraged and I'm really excited. So I hope you guys will tune in. Not only that, but check out Bigfoot today. And check out the shows that they do have. They've done some excellent interviews with some Bigfoot researchers and people that are out in the field doing their thing. And they're really fun shows. And lots of great information, lots of great experiences. Today's guests were great as well, but I'm not going to unveil who that was because I got insider scoop on that. But I'll wait till that show premieres and you guys can see for yourselves. But there was some great firsthand experiences that we're going over today. And I think it's going to be a great episode. You guys will enjoy it. So that's Bigfoot today. And you can find those videos on Extreme Expeditions Northwest LLC on their Facebook page. Or is it their YouTube page? I don't know. They were throwing around where they are. But anyway, just look for Bigfoot today on YouTube and you should be able to find it. Or just look for Extreme Expeditions Northwest LLC on YouTube and you'll find it there. So anyway, that's just kind of the upfront baseball, inside baseball. I got that saying from Dark Waters. Give me the inside baseball. And I don't think he invented it. I've heard other people say that too. So I just thought it was fun to say something new and different. But anyway, it's just me tonight and you and no phones. So if you've got something that you want to say to me, if you're in the YouTube chat, just do the @Paranormal Portal. So it gives me a big yellow box. So I'll see it. Or at least I'll have a better chance of seeing it. There's no guarantees, of course, with me when I start reading stuff, but I'll try. I will try. And if you're in the TFR, just let me know. In there, I know Bam's in there, and I see Boy Solomon's in there. Paradoxical Anomaly is in there. Nightshade's in there, all one, and Glitch in the Matrix is in there. So there's a few people over in TFR tonight. Good to see you guys. Thank you for joining. And there's a bunch of you guys that have come into the YouTube, and that is, I'm going to go over the participants here. Android Puffy. Oh, Android Beardy, sorry. It's small font. I need some readers, I think. Annie M., Black Tree Bomber, Carol Motzinger, Chris Jarvis, Elaine Clifford, Elijah JB Gamer. I know that guy. The Minion. Hi, The Minion. Love ya. Ethan Steele, Gemini Penguin, Kristen Lee, Kai, Linda Bennett, MCat's in here. Good to see you, MCat. Mary Bond, Mike P., Olin Thorson, Salcedo Media, how you doing? So Much Blue Line, and Toolman Tim. That's who I see so far. There are more people in there, but those are the people that are chatting. So welcome, everybody, to the show. Hopefully, if I'm doing my job, you're going to enjoy yourself and have fun learning about some new paranormal goodness. But before we go any further, I think it's time for the news. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk, where it's still just me with a really fluffy intro and some new backgrounds just to keep your viewing experience new and fresh here on the YouTube audience anyway. For those of you in TFR, it probably doesn't matter at all. But anyway, I've got some news here for you, some weird news anyway. And some of it's just really kind of cool. Not all of this is paranormal, but it's not normal, so it's paranormal in at least in definition. Maybe not in nature and all of that, but the first thing I found that was really interesting, and this is more of an archaeological incredible find, but apparently in well, let me pull it over and I can put it up, and I'll put a link in TFR for those of you over there, but you can check it out too. But there's this new archaeological find apparently just popped up, as far as I can tell, as of December 2nd, 2020 on the thisiscolossal.com. And let me copy this link over to the TFR audience so you guys can see as well. And this is there. And those of you on YouTube, you can just watch with me, because here it is. So it says the Sistine Chapel of the Ancients, a remote area of the Amazon, boasts tens of thousands of Ice Age paintings. And what an amazing find. What a masterpiece. I mean, just think of the history that's encased in those rocks. Somebody painted all of that and put up their stories there. That's just incredible. It says, new photographs reveal an enormous collection of prehistoric art that spreads across a nearly 8-mile-long cliff within the Amazon rainforest, now dubbed as the Sistine Chapel of the Ancients. Tens of thousands of paintings depict humans and animals like sloths, horses, and the now extinct Paleolama, and mastodon. The latter creatures haven't occupied regions of South America for almost 12,000 years, which has provided the British Columbian Archaeological Team with a timeline for the artwork's origins. The collection has been known to Colombians and indigenous people for decades, and now will be presented as part of a Channel 4 documentary titled Jungle Mystery: Lost Kingdoms of the Amazon, which airs this month. Archaeologist Ella Al-Shamahi, who is leading the television series, told The Guardian that the site, which is located in the Serrania de la Lindosa, required a 2-hour drive from San Jose del Guaviare. I'm sorry, I'm just brutalizing these names, but I'm doing my best. And an additional 4-hour trek on foot to reach. And when we entered FARC territory, now that's FARC, just so, you know, so that you understand my enunciation in case it sounded at all inappropriate. It was exactly as a few of us have been screaming about for a long time. Al-Shamahi said, exploration is not over. Scientific discovery is not over. But the big discoveries now are going to be found in places that are disputed or hostile, noting that Colombia has been ravaged by civil war for decades. Because of the breadth of the paintings, some are so high on the cliff that they can only be studied with drones, and these researchers believe they will take generations to study. So far, they found traces of ochre pigments in addition to renderings of hallucinogenic plants and depictions of people who appear to be bungee jumping. Wow. They appear to be bungee jumping. Here we thought we were being original. They've been doing it for ages, folks. And it says, update, this article originally framed the prehistoric art as a discovery, which was inaccurate, considering Colombians and indigenous people have known about and studied the area for decades. Patricio von Hildenbrand, Thomas Vanderhamen, and Carlos Castaño Uribe have made significant contributions in addition to researchers at the National University of Colombia and the University of Antioquia. We regret the error and erasure. So these are some of the images. I don't know. Just to me, these things are fascinating because this is as close to a time travel as any of us will ever see. It's just the idea that they left their handprints. They recorded their journeys. They wrote these stories in pictograph form, and I think these kind of things are absolutely fascinating. So I don't know how you feel about this stuff, but it's an amazing thing that we have that record of this time long lost and these people probably that are long lost. That's absolutely fascinating. So that's first off on the news desk. Let's see what else we got here. What else we got? Well, let me tell you. I got to make sure I pick the right camera here. Let me close that, and we'll get to the next news story. And this one is... this one's kind of interesting, folks. Now, I don't know where you stand on the whole spectrum of little people and leprechauns and stuff. I think there are little people out there. I really do. I think there's lots of people witnessing them. This, however, is a specific sort of little people with a specific sort of person talking about them. And let me see, is there anything pictorially that will... No, this is just an article, so I won't copy a link over for you guys in TFR because it's just talking, but I'm going to put it on screen for the YouTube audience. It says, the last leprechaun whisperer, Irish fairies don't have a problem with lockdown. So I wonder, could they be susceptible to the coof as well? These little fairies and stuff. I mean, are they similar enough that they could be? I don't know. It says Kevin Woods from Carlington in County Louth is a prominent leprechaun advocate and activist. In the past, he has successfully lobbied for the mythical Irish fairies to receive EU protection, reports the Irish Post. He appeared on ITV's This Morning to reassure the public that the leprechauns are doing just fine. There are millions of them here in Ireland, and they all died apart from 236 of them, he explained to host Ruth Langford and what is that? Eamon Holmes, I guess. I'm really the custodian of them and their lives, and I began doing that since I got them a protected species. During the interview, Mr. Woods clarified that while most people cannot see the leprechauns, he has unique powers. That means that they appear to him and speak through out-of-body experience. Asked how the leprechauns are dealing with the Irish lockout restrictions, Mr. Woods reported that they have no problem with it. Probably find it a lot more peaceful with all of us shut down. He also tried to convince audiences that his relations with the little Irish fairies had not broken any of the government's lockout measures. Leprechauns are spirits. They manifest themselves to me as leprechauns. I visit them each day. I haven't broken the restrictions, he said. Didn't want to self-implicate, I suppose. I communicate with them through an out-of-body experience. Everyone knows what I mean. And I can transfer my spirit up there. Woods runs a tour business named Last Leprechauns of Ireland and considers himself an authority and custodian of the iconic Irish sprites. While his business has taken a hit in the past few months, he's not worried. It's not really business to me. I have enough access to the gold. I have enough access to the gold. Ooh, Kevin explained. I don't need the business. I do it to tell people the story is true. There you go. So I guess if any of you out there were worried, how are those leprechauns doing? Well, apparently they're just fine. And they seem to like the silence. Maybe the lower traffic is good for their breeding populations or something. I don't know. I'm not tongue in cheek. I know I may maybe sound like a jerk, and I don't mean to, because Lord knows through the path of doing this show, I've heard and talked to people about things that I hadn't ever even fathomed in my mind, and I don't think I know it all. So I don't mean to come across as a conceited pig about it. These things are all possible, but you got to understand it does kind of come across as funny. And the show is also about having a good laugh. And if you can't laugh at yourself, what can you laugh at? All right, so that was that story, and I got one more in terms of the news. And this one I thought was kind of interesting because, of course, we have had on the show Donald Raymond Schmitz has been on a few times, at least 2 times, but maybe 3. And He's a remarkable man that's full of information and knowledge, and his knowledge specifically about the Roswell incident, his extensive research into that field of study, and he's done a great job, and he represents the information phenomenally. I just love having him on the shows because, and he can talk outside of that. It's not like that's the only thing he talks about, but I really learned a lot from him, more than I ever thought I could ever learn about Roswell just by listening to him and the stories he had to share about the experiences. But he's been on the show, and apparently now there is a new series coming regarding the Roswell. And this is from unexplained-mysteries.com. It says, new 3-part TV series to explore Roswell incident. And it says, the new History Channel series will feature the story from the perspective of Major Jesse Marcel's grandchildren. There are a few events in UFO lore as hotly debated as the Roswell incident, an event that has been covered in countless books, documentaries, TV shows, and movies over the last few decades. It all began back in June 1947, several weeks before the official press release on July 8th. William Brazel, a foreman working on the Foster homestead, discovered a quantity of debris spread out approximately 30 miles north of Roswell. He returned with his family on July 4th to gather some of it up, but after hearing reports about flying discs, he decided he better mention it to Sheriff George Wilcox. Wilcox then spoke to the RAAF Major Jesse Marcel, who came to examine the debris for himself. While Marcel died many years ago, his grandchildren, John Marcel, Jesse Marcel II, and Denise Marcel, have now come forward to tell their side of the story. In a new 3-part documentary series on the History Channel entitled Roswell, The First Witness, the trio investigates their grandfather's experiences at the time of the incident by way of his diary. What's interesting is that the journal moved from grandfather's hands to our father's hands, and now to ours, said Jesse. Inside is a bunch of rambling that doesn't really fit with who our grandfather was. There are breaks in the journal that are not clear, but it could be a secret code. The series follows the Marcel grandchildren as well as host and former CIA operative Ben Smith. Oh, I thought he was FBI. But anyway, as they follow the trail of clues, speak to witnesses, and try to piece together what really happened. You can watch the first episode on Saturday, December 12th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time and Pacific, I guess. I don't know how that works, but it says 9 p.m. ET/PT. So that's kind of cool. I don't know. I would like to check that out. Unfortunately, I don't have the means to unless they also have an online version or some version that I can see. But it'd be interesting to see what is mentioned. I don't know. It'll probably be a regurgitation of a lot of things that have already been covered, but maybe there's some new information that could come out of there. I don't know. Very cool. All right. That's it. I hope you all feel well informed now as we've closed this segment of the news, but that's going to do it for us. Back to you, Brent. Thank you. Back to the normal, regularly scheduled program here. That's the news. Just a few articles, but I thought they were fun and interesting and hopefully set the tone for a fantastic show yet to follow. And we'll see how that goes. But that's always my idea. I got 4 minutes until the break, so I'm looking for something kind of quick to break into here. Let's see what I can find here. I did that one. I guess I could just read something quickly for 4 minutes. A lot of these things I've already read. Apparently they did solve the mystery monolith thing. Let's go over that quick because that's been all over the place. And Don mentioned about it. Apparently some art group has come forward, but I did find an article here that is a quick read. So let's go through this. And it says, has the metal monolith mystery been solved? And if you're wondering what that means, there's these Well, the first one was found in Utah. It looks like a monolithic structure, a big triangular tower. It looks like almost like an obelisk, but it's only three-sided. Just appeared out of nowhere and came to the awareness of a group that was doing a deer study or something, counting bighorn sheep or something. And they saw it. And since then, more of them have popped up all over the globe. So this says that an art group has come forward to claim responsibility for creating the Utah and California monoliths. The mystery of who is behind the mysterious 2001 inspired structures has finally been solved, that is, at least based on the apparent confession of the most famous artist, and that's in quotes, a global artist community that has taken responsibility for creating them and is now selling replicas on its website. Well played. Well played. That's some networking there. That is some excellent networking. Speculation over the nature and origins of the monolith, which had been turned up in Utah, California, even Romania, have been rife for weeks. Many suspecting that they were part of some sort of promotional stunt, perhaps for an upcoming movie or brand awareness campaign. It now seems, however, that it's simply a stunt designed to sell replicas for upwards of $45,000. Oh my God. Just go get some duct work and a rivet gun. You're good. You can do it for probably $50. I'm not able to say much because of legalities of the original installation, said founder Maddie Moe, sorry. I can say that we are well known for stunts of this nature, and at this time we're offering authentic art objects, though through monoliths as a service. I cannot issue additional images at this time, but I can promise more on this in the coming days and weeks. But is this group really responsible for the monoliths, or are they just simply attempting to make money on the back of the phenomena? The search for answers continues. Well, I mean, the thing is they found these monoliths, but most of them, if not all of them, I don't know about all of them, but most of them had rivets. They were riveted, so it's obviously not supernatural or otherworldly. It's something somebody fabricated for whatever reason. But to sell them for $45,000, they better have a gold core or something. I don't know how you justify a price like that for a sheet metal stack. I don't know. That's incredible. But I guess if you got the money, you may as well spend it somewhere. I don't know. But anyway, folks, that's going to wrap up our first half hour. It's already first half hour is done. And we're going to go to a quick break. If you're new to the show, we got to take breaks because we're simulcasting on TFR Live, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live, and they take breaks. So we're going to take a break now here on YouTube as well. And we'll be right back in just a few minutes with more of the Paranormal Portal. Don't go away.
Discover the
ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and we're back at it. Ooh, the waterfall's back, too. Not only am I back, but the waterfall's back. Hold on, TFR. Going to reconnect to you in just a second. All right, let's try that again. What in the hell, huh? All right, here we go. And there we go. Crystal clear, ladies and gentlemen, just like that. It's just rubbing it out. That didn't sound right at all. I'm just cleaning it, I mean. Oh, God. All right, so welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Half hour number 2 begins now. Are you ready to be thoroughly entertained? Well, you might want to look for a different show. No, I'm just kidding. I hope you're thoroughly entertained here. I hope so. I know I'm entertaining myself, and that's got to be worth something, right? I got an article here I think that should be good, interesting anyway. I don't know what to make of it, though. And anytime these claims come out of left field like this, it's hard to understand for sure if there's any credibility to it at all. But the person does seem to have the background that would give them this information or make them privy to this information. Seems to have. But let's take a look at this. And this is an article from collectiveevolution.com. collective-evolution.com. So tell me what you think. It's not visual, so again, I'm just going to read it. But it says, ex-head of Israeli space program blows the whistle on extraterrestrial contact. I don't know if there's something to this or not. Certainly I have no doubt in my mind at all that not only are they here, but perhaps they are truly in contact with the governments or, something to that effect. But obviously there's many people that claim they're in contact with them, and not usually in a very good way. But are there secret accords? Are there secret agreements that allow them to do that or give them the sovereignty to do as they will? I don't know, maybe. But this person claims to have the background on that, and let's see what it says. It says, retired Israeli general, current professor, 3-time recipient of Israel Security Award, and former head of Israel's space program for nearly 30 years, Professor Haim Ashed, claims that intelligent extraterrestrials exist and that they've been in contact with Earth governments, particularly Israel and the United States, for years. He did so in an interview with Yediot Aharonot, a national daily newspaper published in Tel Aviv, telling them that the aliens have asked not to announce that they're here. Humanity is not ready yet. And says New York-based independent media outlet The Jewish Press seems to be the first to have picked up on the story. And now it's being reported by the New York Post and several other media outlets. The Jewish Press quotes Eshed, the UFOs have asked not to publish that they are here. Humanity is not ready yet. Trump was on the verge of revealing, but the aliens in the Galactic Federation are saying, wait, let people calm down first. They don't want to start mass hysteria. They want to first make us sane and understanding. That may never happen. That may very well never happen. Just let it out. Add it to the other worms that are crawling around. They've been waiting for humanity to evolve and reach a state where we will generally understand what space and spaceships are. There's an agreement between the U.S. and the aliens, and they signed a contract with us to do experiments here. They, too, are researching and trying to understand the whole fabric of the universe, and they want us as helpers. Oh, helpers. Is that what you call it when you have overlords? No, I'm not a captive. I'm a helper. There's an underground base in the depths of Mars where their representatives are, and also are American astronauts. That's strange. Eshed has also recently written a book called The Universe Beyond the Horizon, Conversations with Professor Haim Ashed. In it, he goes into details about multiple claims, like how extraterrestrials have prevented us from destroying ourselves and the planet multiple times with nuclear weapons. This is a fascinating claim given the fact that we know that UFOs have had a fascination with our nuclear weapons storage facilities, and nuclear weapons manufacturing facilities. For example, one famous incident occurred at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana, a base housing nuclear weapons. Military witnesses encountered a red glowing UFO hovering just outside the front gate. After that happened, all of the nuclear missiles shut down and went completely dead. There was an incident at RAF Bentwaters in the UK and other incidents where a beam of light from the UFO was placed upon the building where the nuclear weapons were stored, and they were also shut down. This means that if we wanted to launch them, we couldn't. Here is a clip of, I'm not going to follow that link. One of the men, he said, here's a clip of Robert Salas, one of the men involved in the incident, giving his testimony at the citizens' hearing on disclosure that took place a few years ago, where a number of of academics, politicians, and ex-military gathered in front of several congresspeople to discuss the matter and what happened there. According to Colonel Ross Dedrickson, who was responsible for maintaining the inventory of the nuclear weapons stockpile for the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission, the U.S. tried to detonate a nuclear weapon on the moon for scientific purposes and measurements, and he claimed that extraterrestrials destroyed the weapon before it got to the moon, and that the detonation of any nuclear weapon in space by any Earth government was not acceptable to the extraterrestrials. I don't think it's really acceptable for it here either. Not on the ground either, in my opinion. If I get a vote, that's my vote too. And that has been demonstrated time and time again. You can learn more from him in one of his only interviews before he passed, conducted by Dr. Stephen Greer here. We have indeed been contacted, perhaps even visited by extraterrestrial beings, and the U.S. government, in collusion with other national powers of the Earth, is determined to keep this information from the general public. And that's according to Second Look, Volume 1, Number 7, Washington, D.C., May 1979. Wow. It says, this is confusing for many people who are paying attention because for so long the human race has been subjected to an official campaign of ridicule and secrecy about UFOs and ET, ex-CIA Director Roscoe Hillenkotter, and that is why all of this disclosure all of a sudden. When the mainstream media covers big topics based on my observations, there is usually a staggering amount of manipulation and disinformation involved. Is this what we will see or are seeing with the UFO topic now that is becoming popular in the mainstream? I don't know. Is it a possibility? You can read more in depth about mainstream disclosure about the phenomena in the articles linked below. And one of them is, do UFOs represent some sort of threat? Or is this just government propaganda? And just like that, UFO crash retrievals are now mainstream. We've been covering this topic for more than 10 years now. If you want to go through our article archive on the UFO extraterrestrial phenomena, you can sift through it here. Wow, they got all kinds of links in this article. So there's the takeaway. The implications of the UFO extraterrestrial phenomenon are huge. It represents a major paradigm shift and possibly the biggest in human history. It leaves no aspect of humanity untouched and forces us to ask deeper questions about ourselves and our understandings about the true nature of reality. History, science, technology, education, medicine, economics, a proper acknowledgement and study of metaphysics, non-material science, and human consciousness will change forever. The biggest thing is to look at the way we live here on Earth and ask ourselves why we live the way we do when it doesn't have to be this way. Why do we give so much value to a piece of paper that determines what we are able to do and achieve? We have unlimited potential to create a human experience where all life on the planet, including the planet itself, can thrive. We already have the solutions. Solutions are not what is stopping us. Human consciousness is, the way we think, relate, etc. Okay, so anyway, there's lots more of that in here, and I don't disagree with the whole summing it up and stuff, but I think this is a fantastic possibility that this man is being totally honest and forthcoming, and that we do have and have had that, and he's certainly not the first person to say so, but he's a man with some pretty impressive official standing, and I don't know, it's worth considering anyway. If you're on the fence about the whole UFO thing, well, we've got more and more information coming out all the time that at least, any intelligent person will look at that and go, well, there's something going on. Maybe it's not what we think. Maybe it's other projects. Maybe it's other things. Could be some natural phenomena that acts very much like a craft. I don't know. I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities, but you can't say it's nothing anymore. You can't say it's nothing because with all of these pieces and parts coming together, it's something. There's something going on there. And certainly I don't disagree with the fact that, we could do better. We could definitely do better. And as individuals and as a global community, but when's that going to happen? I don't know. We can't seem to agree on much really. And that's disheartening, but then again, truth right now is one of the truth right now seems to be the biggest casualty of our modern age because everything that's out there is spun with some kind of agenda and underneath it. And it's hard to know what's real anymore. It's very, very confusing time. But anyway, that's that article. I hope you enjoyed it for what it is. And again, that came from collective-evolution.com. So if you want to read more about it or check out some of those other links, let's see. I was going to look at that link and just see if that's something that we could look at here on the show. Here's a clip. I'm going to open it and just see what I'm finding here.
We'll begin with Captain Roger Solis. Am I pronouncing that right, sir?
Okay, so this is from Exopolitical Archive. It's 18 minutes, though. But I will put this link in both of the chats so you guys can see it if you choose to. I'll put the link in there, and perhaps you'll want to check it out. Perhaps you won't, but perhaps you will. If you want to learn more about the disclosure hearings and stuff and things that went on, they are certainly worth a watch. I will say that. Not that I believe everybody that's took part in it was being absolutely above board or factual, but I think there were many people that were. We all just need truth. Yeah, that's the problem though, Farm, is where do you get the truth? If you don't, it seems like if you don't find it on your own, you can't trust it from anywhere else. And that's what's sad. Everybody's spinning it now. Truth is subjective, and it's always been subjective, but now it's completely subjective. There's no guidelines to what is true anymore. So there's the link I posted in both the chat rooms. You guys can check them out. I think it's worth looking at some of those disclosure hearings. If you haven't checked them out already, if this is new to you, definitely watch it, and you'll get an idea of some of the people that are out there. Now, a lot with the disclosure hearings, Stephen Greer put that together, and he's always under fire, and maybe he earns it, maybe he's got it coming. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I don't know the guy at all, so I don't have a personal opinion of the man. I've heard stories, I've heard claims, and they may very well be true. He might just be, working the angles. He might be completely altruistic in his efforts. I just don't know. But again, there's truth. There's a spin to truth. Do you know what's true? I don't know if I do anymore. That sucks. It really sucks to say that, but it, honest to God, is true. We've got 12 minutes. What can I cover here? I can cover some of these other things that I had pulled up, hopefully, if I can find them. What the hell? Oh, yeah, we'll screw that. We'll get rid of that. Okay. Let me just pull up some of these other things that I had. That was that one. I should close that. Sorry, I'm talking to myself, but it's just how I work. Oh. Now that one looks like a good one, too. I think we might have read that, though. No, I think we did. Sorry, I'm just getting kind of organized, but I'm rather disorganized, actually. Here we go. Here's one that comes up every once in a while. This is from animalien.com, and it talks about a phenomena which may be brand new to many of you. And this is the phenomena called rods. And it's RODS. Now, rods are an interesting phenomenon. They appear in photos and stuff, and it's pretty curious. I'm going to put a link of this in the TFR as well. I'm going to show it on screen to those of you on YouTube, but obfuscation is a weapon. Yeah, you're right, ma'am. It is. It really is. And it's brutally effective, unfortunately. And there's misinformation, disinformation, and then there's the overinformation. That's another type where you hear so many things that are allegedly true that you can't figure out which one of them is. Okay, so this is the flying rods phenomenon, and this is a depiction of it. You can see on the screen, if you're on YouTube, you can see a picture of what looks like these things are referred to often as rods. Now, I will say that oftentimes it's very possible it's just a moth flying, and due to a long exposure rate of a camera, it will capture several flaps of the wings before it finishes its exposure. I don't know that that's exclusively the case because rods have been captured in the daytime as well. This is a quick read, though. It says, the rods phenomena began in March 1994 once Jose Escamilla, a film editor from New Mexico, caught some interesting footage of a UFO sighting. As he analyzed the tapes in a frame-by-frame detail, Escamilla noted long, thin, bizarre objects darting about the scene, or the screen, rather. At first, he thought they were birds or insects that were very close to the camera lens, but as he sharpened the clarity of the picture, an elongated cylindrical body could be viewed. Their rod-like shape gave them their name, and in subsequent years, a wealth of similar footage has been recorded from all corners of the world. Rods seem to be living organisms, not noticeable to the human eye because of their fast movement. They have an extended, ultra-thin frame and sets of wings or fins protruding from their body. The quick, haphazard motion suggests they are organic life, but detailed research is difficult, as they are only discernible in pictures taken with high shutter speed cameras. To some extent, they look like stick insects with no real limbs, but the chance potential that they are known organisms has been proven wrong. Footage of rods moving alongside existing animals highlights the fact that their design and attributes are quite unlike any other creature that we recognize. There's been a big quantity of private footage captured by enthusiasts, but very few examples of truly high-grade, broadcast quality photography. Among the best examples of rods on film came from Mark Lichtel, who was recording parachutists leaping into a cavern in Mexico called the Cave of Swallows. During the 45 minutes of footage, countless rods can be seen alongside insects, birds, and people, and it is now widely accepted that the Cave of Swallows is one of the best places to capture rods on camera. However, rods are sighted across the world, and even the U.S. Navy is reported to have knowledge and footage of the phenomena. With an abundance of growing proof, it seems the idea of flying rods has to be taken seriously, but still, no one has any idea what they truly are. And I've often wondered that. So, you know, as our technology develops, we certainly are able to see and perceive things that kind of exist in scale with us. For instance, the birds, the animals that we are familiar with, they exist in our scale, meaning that they move on a ratio that is not too widely incompatible to our own. I mean, obviously, we don't fly, but we do move. And, most animals move between 0 and 100 miles per hour. Like that's a pretty consistent range for all known wildlife. As just me spitballing it in my head. I might be really inaccurate with that, but so we live in scale with these things, so we're familiar with them. We observe them regularly, and they seem to be in perfect phase with us. Now, as our technology improves and the proliferation of this technology, which is able to capture things that maybe aren't in phase with us and not in scale with us. So maybe there's things that very naturally move hundreds of miles an hour, whereas we're much too slow. So if you've ever watched like NASCAR, those cars are going 100 plus miles an hour all the time, and you see the spectator shots, And basically it's like, it's gone. Now, that's not really in scale with us, but it's in such a large scale that it can be perceived pretty clearly. Shrink that down to the size of, of a pencil. What do you think your odds are of actually capturing or seeing it, even witnessing it with your eyes? And I would say that they are very, very, very slim. So if it moves hundreds of miles an hour just naturally, that's just its ability. What else is around us that we just aren't in scale with, so we don't know? There's other things like phase and vibration and other things that could give us a whole other catalogs of beings that are possible. But I think that as the technology expands, as it improves, and as people distribute it among the world, capturing things, I think more of these kind of anomalies could become normal. They could just become part of our natural fauna. We just didn't know of them before. So in other words, currently in the Laurentian abyss, we can't go there. We can't go there. We can't build things that can go there yet. So there's an entire catalog of species that are living in those depths. Sometimes they pop up dead and they wash up on shore. So we're familiar with a few of them that happen to actually make it to shore. So they're observable. But if you think of the vastness of the ocean, how little of the ocean is explored. So we're not in scale with those things. They are not in scale with us. They live in such a pressure environment that, we just don't have the ability to observe them. And so as our technology, expands, soon we'll be sending things down there. And, you'll be able to watch a documentary of the Laurentian abyss, what goes on down there. But we can't quite do it yet, or maybe it's just on the verge of becoming possible now. But I think that there's whole catalogs of things, and these rods could very well be among those things. They just move too quick. And then how many things are almost absolutely translucent? Maybe these rods are. And that might be part of the mystique of them as well, is that not only are they fast moving, but they may be opaque or translucent, and they don't seem to catch much light to show us they're there. Certainly jellyfish, and there's other types of beings on this planet that are pretty much translucent and pass most of the light through them. So I think it's exciting, and it's certainly we're certainly going to learn and grow our knowledge so much more as we become able to be aware of them. And I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. I'm hoping it does, but those are just my thoughts on this kind of thing, because I don't think it's maybe as fantastic as it sounds. It may be to most, people that this is my world. I know it. I know about it. And that's not real because I didn't know about it. There's certainly those kind of people that are just not willing to expand their knowledge. They're not willing to expand their paradigm because they just know it's comfortable. That's secure to them. But I think as these things, as our abilities to perceive the world around us improve, so then will the amount of things we can learn about. Bioluminescent creatures are fascinating. You're right, Bam, I agree. It must be old. Yeah, well, apparently it's from the 70s. Bam is as the article I just read. It's apparently somewhere around there, but I hope I'm giving you all the woo you can handle, Bam. Told you I had a whole buffet coming tonight. But I think it's interesting. And if any of you guys have a feeling or thought on that, I'm just trying to scroll through the YouTube chat to see if I missed anything. I don't think I have. So, okay. I think we're doing good. But we are about down to almost a minute away from break. I just want to take a moment and say that following the Paranormal Portal tonight, after our second hour, will be Paisley Wild, The Spaces Between. And as you all know, she's a dear friend, and she's doing a great job on her show, talking about esoteric ideas, crystals, energies, practices, and pursuits and things to know to increase your esoteric wellness. Currently, she's doing the elements, and the elements I think are fascinating as well. Call-in lines are not working. You're right, Farm, but she'll be coming up next. So that'll be right here on TFR iHeart. Tune in and TalkStream Live. But you can also catch her show on, and her show will be on YouTube, streaming live as well, just much like we do. She's simulcasting on both, and so you can check out her YouTube channel, and that is youtube.com/thespacesbetween. So that'll be coming up next. Oh, I'm getting parts tonight. Wow. It's been a busy day. Oof. And then after Paisley Wild Show, of course, comes The Duke with World Bigfoot Radio. So still lots to come tonight here on TFR iHeart. Tune in and TalkStream Live. And, if you're not already a part of the TFR Live family and community, you should get involved. There are amazing hosts representing a whole huge bodies of information, from flat earth to alternate living to health to well-being to spirituality to the paranormal portal. All right, guys, we're going to go to break. We will be right back in just a couple minutes, so don't go away.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me as their lies keep falling apart. With my silence, I am not a stupid toy. No more breaking me with kindness, just you dance upon my joy. Feeding me with empty promise, you're just another fucking gas. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed.
Caroline is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force. It is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
And so can that intro, ladies and gentlemen. That can go on for years, I swear to God. But I love it. Let's hear if we got the waterfall or not. How are we going to end up on this one? Let's hear. And the splashing waters return. All right, let me get that dialed in. All right, TFR, we'll be right back with you in just a moment. Oh, silence. Silence, pristine, lovely silence. Let's call him again. And there we go. We are back in the crystal clear connection, which is perfect. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the show, to the Paranormal Portal. I haven't forgot to unmute myself all night. I'm feeling really proud of myself. So apparently I'm on the ball. So welcome back to the Paranormal Portal, where we put the FU into fun. I don't know if that's a thing or not. I thought it was clever. I was thinking about it during the break. Did you like it? Sorry. Gotta have fun, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't have fun, then you're in the wrong place. I don't take myself too seriously because, I can't. It's just too boring. Somebody call. Who's going to call, Kai? The phones don't work. It doesn't work. The phones are not available tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on with our phone service. It kind of works sporadically. It was brilliant. It worked all the time, but now it's just being real flaky. So not sure. Phone not working tonight, Kai. But yeah, that's right, Farm. Gotta spread the word. Mr. Noodles? Who's Mr. Noodles? I don't know who Mr. Noodles is. Welcome. If you've not been here before, welcome to here. And hello to everybody else that's here. Glad you're with me. We got a lot more paranormal to get to, and hopefully it'll be good. This one's, I love these articles. Again, I'm a Brent Swanser junkie, but this is one of his archives, and I just ran into it. I don't know if he linked it or if I just found it, but it looks like a good one. Hi, Anubis. Well, just coming in to say hi. Hello, Paranormal Cat. He just came in from outside. He was out there probably mousing or something. Did you find any lunch? No? Okay. All right, so this is an article from mysteriousnuniverse.org, which, again, is an amazing site full of all kinds of paranormal and cryptozoological and Fortean topics that they're written about. Nick Redfern writes over there, Paul Seaborn. Brent Swanser is a personal friend, and he's, the guy's amazing. Obviously, I'm always singing his praises, but there's a reason for that. I've been doing this for years, and I've read thousands and thousands of articles through the course of this show, and I swear, quite legitimately that I always enjoy his the most. And I enjoy many people that write out there. I really do. There's some incredible talents, but Brent Swanser's on the pinnacle for me. So I always sing his praises and hope you guys will check out his work. And he's also got a Facebook group called the Dark League Paranormal, and I think it's Dark League. I'm terrible with names, but I'm pretty sure that that's what it is. Let me just look. Dark League Paranormal. So if you look for Dark League Paranormal, you'll find it on Facebook and become a member. Mr. Swanser's always grinding out. Not only that, but he has a really well-run community over there. Lots of great people. So check it out for sure. All right. So the article that I want to read to you guys comes from April 28th, 2020. Oh, I guess it's just earlier this year. Okay. And this is The Mysterious Wolfman of the Great Dismal Swamp. Now, of course, whenever you hear Wolfman, I don't know about you guys, but I just think Dogman. Because how many canid type cryptid beings that walk bipedally could there be? Well, it might be a loaded question, but there's probably maybe a few, but not many. And I always think, well, are they just all dogmen and people are just identifying it uniquely each time? And that's possible, but let's read this and see what they say. Let's see what he says, rather. Sprawled out over a large area of southern Virginia and northeastern North Carolina is a tangled mass of wilderness with the rather ominous name of the Great Dismal Swamp. That's a pretty descriptive name. It's like you wouldn't have to wonder if you saw it on map what you're in for. That definitely seems to spell it right out. This vast expanse of wetlands encompasses the Great Dismal Swamp National Wildlife Refuge and Dismal State Park, covering tens of thousands of acres, and beside its rich biodiversity, the swamp has a long history of being home to native tribes and also the location of remote settlements for escaped renegade slaves during the American slavery years. The Great Dismal Swamp is also a place of great mysteries and the supposed haunt of a very strange and fierce creature indeed. With its maze of islands and waterways and its dim, murky, and in some places nearly impenetrable wilderness, the Great Dismal Swamp is in many ways every bit as spooky as its name would suggest. Full of snakes and alligators prowling the muddy waters or murky waters, it is an innately dangerous place, often avoided by settlers, and a perfect place for the escaped slaves to hide out, hidden away from civilization. It's easy to peer into the gloomy, mosquito-infested wilderness of this place and imagine that something strange could be hiding here. And indeed, there have been many tales of wilderness weirdness orbiting the swamp for years. Besides numerous tales of ghost lights, shadowy apparitions, and other supernatural denizens, there have also been reports of a large, hairy bipedal beast of some sort lurking here, which has mostly been described as sort of Wolfman. I'm thinking Dogman, but yeah. There were long reports of a giant, 8-foot-tall, hair-covered beast that smelled of rotten flesh, prowling through the swamp, but the reports seem to have taken off in 1902 when a rather strange report appeared in March 20th, 1901 edition of the Richmond Dispatch, which reads, "The strange dismal swamp monster, which one day this week killed 7 of Ed Smith's dogs, ate 2 of them, and later attacked Mr. Smith himself, has been seen again. Mr. Smith lives about 12 miles from Suffolk. Last night, L. Frank Ames, a merchant who lives near Bennett's Creek, saw the same thing and suffered from its ravages. Hearing a strange noise, Mr. Ames went out with his pistol. He thought at first it was a strange dog, and when he learned it was the much sought-after monster, Mr. Ames shot several times, but without effect. The thing growled savagely, being sent after it. 6 dogs refused to have a conflict and fled in terror. They could not be induced to make an attack. The unknown animal escaped without being harmed. Afterward, it appeared at the home of Henry Jordan, colored and sat defiantly on a covered well. The description is like the one furnished by Mr. Smith, a large, gaunt form, long yellow hair, and vicious eyes. The creature was spotted all over the area after this, usually described as bipedal with shaggy, matted hair, covering its body and having eyes that glowed brightly. It was often described as having decidedly canine features and was apparently notorious for killing dogs and livestock, often leaving them in a mangled, savage state. There were apparently hunters who would go out trying to kill the beast and were supposedly successful on at least one occasion, but there seems to have been more than one of these things. According to one article of the era, in March 21st, 1902 edition of the Little Falls Herald, another monster has come forth from the Dismal Swamp jungles and is spreading alarm among farmers around Driver, 12 miles from Suffolk, Virginia. Last week, an unclassified animal not indigenous to Highlands terrorized residents of Pleasant Hill. It wasn't so pleasant that night. So that they were afraid to leave home at night. After being chased by numerous armed possesses, this beast was killed by Harrison Walker, a colored hunter. Now, Edward Smith, a farmer of Driver, says that a strange being visited his premises and killed 7 dogs, 2 of which were eaten, while the other 5 were mutilated. Another dog took refuge under a barn, and Smith, hearing the dog's yells, went out with a pistol. The monster sprang upon him, Smith fell, and the beast tore his clothing to shreds. He finally beat it off, but the revolver, being corroded, would not fire. Whit Walker of the same neighborhood says the animal visited his home too. From Smith's description, the animal is larger than a wolf with shaggy yellow hair, long head, and sunken eyes. It is gaunt and vicious. People are wondering what will next come from the unexplored swamp made famous by Tom Moore's verses. The more superstitious regard this visitation as supernatural. The families are having much trouble with their servants. The creature, or something like it, has been sighted in the area sporadically right up into modern times, often with the detail that it stands on its hind legs and has a face like a man but with a canine snout, which has led to speculation that the dismal swamp monster could be an actual werewolf. Other ideas are that it could be something like a swamp-dwelling Bigfoot, some sort of out-of-place wolf, bear, or even a type of cryptid known as the Dogman. But it is hard to say, as the reports are few and far between, and most known from a handful of old newspaper articles. Whatever this creature is or was, it makes for a very spooky tale from an already spooky place. So there you go, the dismal swamp monster. Huh. I think that really, speaks to me as if it's a Dogman, but I don't know. It's interesting that it ravages the wildlife, or the cows and other livestock. It destroys dogs, but it doesn't sound like it did much to that guy other than just shred his clothing. It didn't sound like it didn't sound like it was trying to kill him. It was just trying to, make him back off or make him, surrender his willingness to shoot at it. I don't know. That's pretty interesting. So, whatever the case, that's pretty curious. But that does tie in with the Dogman. That ties in with what they say. When Vic was on, he talked about, of all of the reports that he's heard, of course, people are extraordinarily intimidated, and they are extraordinarily frightened. But for the most part, this is, these things appear, and they just like to freak people out and then do what they do. But the other part that seems similar to a Dogman is that the claims were made that it was fired upon 3 times to no effect. And that same thread is repeated even today of people who claim to have shot the Dogman. They've unloaded or, shot many rounds into the thing with no effect. Not even blood trails. They could see the pelt move as it got hit by the rounds, but still, it didn't drop it, didn't make it even, flinch or lose its stride in most cases. So, I don't know. How about the other claim where it supposedly was killed by a man? Well, maybe. It's hard to believe that if it's alive, it couldn't be, killed. But that's really bizarre. Really, really bizarre stuff. So whatever you think of it, that's a new one to me. I've never heard of the Wolfman of the Great Dismal Swamp. Wow. Just when you think you've heard everything, ladies and gentlemen, along comes the paranormal. But a good article, as always, Mr. Swanser. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. All right, let me get to some of these down here that I had pulled up to discuss. All right, now this one, this is, let's see, where do I want to start from here? There, this, not this, no. I wanted to look. Okay, so there's one more article from Anime. Oh, there's 2 here that are kind of unique. The first one I want to discuss was from animalien.com. This is another cryptid, but it's from Scotland, of all places. Now, I know that it seems very hard for some people to get their heads around the idea that the UK still has cryptids, and I can understand. We just don't think of Scotland, Ireland, and the UK as being this, or England as being these untamed wilderness. To us it seems these places have long since been subdued, and with the removal of most of the forest lands in those areas, and the disappearance of many of the local fauna, like many people believe there's no wolves or anything there, whereas at one time there was long ago. So to hear that there's these possibly enormous cryptid beings running around up there to us it seems foreign, but the claims do come in. They're still coming in. Of course, the Irish Bigfoot Research Organization has had encounters. They've had proof. They've found prints of something in remote places. So it's not likely to be hoaxed. It's not likely to be someone walking around with a shoe form, because where they're finding these things is not on the beaten path. They're in some very remote, weird places. And that's kind of, to me, that's like the litmus test is at least a litmus test. Let me just say that, because many of us are familiar with the fact that these big beings, whether they're dogmen, whether they're Bigfoot, they do come into, urban areas. They do come into among houses, and they're not always out in this thick, expanse of forest and wildlands. They are sometimes just, looking in your windows, watching your TV, So to find prints around houses is not necessarily suspect, but to find them out in the middle of nowhere, huge 16, 17, 18 foot prints out in the middle of nowhere, just, it doesn't even register that could be hoaxed or would be hoaxed, because there's nothing out there. There's nobody out there. There's no, somebody could leave a print, but it could easily be washed away within the time before anybody would come even within a mile of it. And so if somebody's going to hoax, they're going to do it in an more urban area or more well-traveled area like a park or something, because the people that hoax want their hoaxes observed. They want people to see this stuff. So they are out there. There are things out there, and I don't know what they need to survive. It would seem like, many people would claim that with that kind of a body and that kind of caloric needs, it would require a pretty vast habitat. But perhaps they've learned to subsist just fine on us and on our wastes. You don't need to go out and forage, 100 acres of berries, because you can hit a dumpster and get a calorie, buffet. And so maybe that's how they handle the lack of habitat, as they've learned how to very discreetly subsist off of our refuses and our waste. So there's certainly that as a consideration. But what I wanted to talk to you about was, this is coming from animalien.com, and it talks about a creature called the Grey Man of Ben Macdui Mountain. And that's in Scotland. Let me pull it up here. It's not a visual thing, so I'll just read it for you, and you can enjoy it all the same. It says, in the Scottish Highlands lies a mountain where numerous have actually experienced a fear quite unlike anything else they have ever felt. As the fogs and mists roll all along the cairns, they say there lurks a creature massive and terrifying. They call it Amphir Liathmore, and it's just A-M and then F-E-A-R, and then Liath is Liathmor, Liathmore, or the Big Grey Man. Some see him as an old figure in robes, a giant, or even a devil. The creature doesn't just threaten with the force of physical power. This beast also causes an almost suicidal sense of depression and panic in all who encounter it. Ben Macdui is the second highest mountain in Scotland. Standing at over 4,000 feet, it is an imposing sight and a substantial test for experienced climbers. Many of the witnesses who observe or feel the presence of the Grey Man is serious, hardened mountaineers, not prone to flights of fancy. The first person to expose he had met the mountain's strange tenant was Professor Norman Colley. Colley was a respected and well-known climber, but when he gave his speech to the Cairngorm Club in 1925, the audience was truly stunned. Colley revealed that he had been coming down from the mountain of Ben Macdui in 1891 when he heard footsteps behind him. At the beginning, shrouded in mist, he rationalized that it must have just been an echo of his own footfalls. But at some point, he realizes the noises he heard were not corresponding to the moves he was making. It sounded like a giant was following him. He said it was as if someone was walking after me, but taking steps 3 or 4 times the length of my own. Frightened, Colley thoughtlessly ran for 4 or 5 miles down the mountainside until he could no longer hear the noise. Colley never returned to the mountain, and to this day, his dying day, resolutely believed there was something very queer about Ben Macdui. During the Second World War, Peter Densham was a mountain rescue worker locating and saving pilots who had crashed in the Cairngorms, and one day he was at the top of Ben Macdui when a heavy mist started to fall. He sat and waited for conditions to improve, and after some time, he started to hear weird crunching noises and instantly felt a presence close by. He stood up to explore, but was immediately seized by a feeling of panic. Before he realized what was happening, he was running down the mountain, dangerously close to the sheer cliff edge. He said afterwards, "I tried to stop myself and found this incredibly hard to do. It was as if someone was pushing me. I managed to deflect my course, but with great deal of difficulty." Since that time, a lot of people have noticed a strange being or felt an overpowering sense of impending doom in the area. One of the most recent encounters occurred in the early 1990s. 3 men were walking in a forest just outside of Aberdeen, and one of the party spotted a human-shaped figure running across a track a little way ahead of them. He told his friends, and they all looked in the same direction. They saw a strange, not quite human face. A few weeks later, the same group were driving in the area when they realized they were being followed by the same dark, tall being, or tall, dark being. The creature kept pace even at speeds of 45 miles per hour, and eventually tired and stopped. Again, these men felt a distinct sense of terror and foreboding. Beast enthusiasts have lots of ideas about the creature's origin. Some say he could be an extraterrestrial being or a ghost of an old Highland race, or even a mystical, wise religious figure. One interesting theory is that atop Ben Macdui, there is a gateway to another dimension, and this creature is the gatekeeper. If this really is his role, then he is doing a good job. After an experience with the big gray man, very few people have dared to venture up Ben Macdui again. Wow. And that source for that was feelingchillingfireflashes.blogspot.com. Okay. That's interesting. We often hear about the waves of fear, the primal fear that people see when they experience when they see or experience one of these beings close by, whether it's a Bigfoot or a dogman or whatever. So many times the people talk about just waves of fear washing over them. It's almost like it's being subjected on them, not like it's just, "Ooh, what's out there? I'm getting spooked." It's more than that. And I don't, it's pretty crazy. Is that some kind of a genetic memory, that we have of these kind of creatures, that somehow there's a genetic memory of them and we react from a very primal place? Or is it possible that these beings or creatures can exert that upon us? Is there a telepathic quality that they can make us feel this just incredibly overpowering fear, and we're lost? I think it's a great article, though. Very well done. Very curious as well. I just got to look at the time and see how we're doing. Oh my gosh, I stopped in perfect time, because we're about a minute out of our last break, ladies and gentlemen. We only have a half hour to go. Well, 20-some minutes, as it were, but the night's flown by. I hope you've enjoying it. You guys have been enjoying it. these breaks, I know it rubs a lot of people wrong, but just trust me, we take the breaks because we have to. And the reason I don't edit the breaks out is because to do that would remove all of our live chatters on YouTube. And the YouTube audience has always been a big part of what we're doing. The live audience has always been a big part of the shows. And I don't want to remove that. So if you're watching these videos and you're like, oh, God, the breaks, they suck. Just know that they're there because I have to take them. But they remain because I can't, I don't want to remove a big part of the show just to, get rid of a little time lapse. So feel free to fast forward through them if you're watching the replays. That works too. But anyway, we're going to go to our last break, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be back for the remainder of the show. So I'll meet you back here in just a few minutes. gentlemen, this is the last half hour of the show tonight. It's gone relatively quickly. I hope it's been going quickly for you guys too. This is the home stretch, as it were. But it's always bittersweet for me because that means the show ends and then I'm done talking to you for the night. But I hope you've had a great journey, all things considered. Even though we don't have the phones, we got each other. We're all connected. This symbiotic relationship that we have. But anyway, if what was I going to say? Oh yeah. Anyway, be sure to stay tuned after the show because coming up next is Paisley Wild, The Spaces Between, and she will take you on a journey into the esoteric. And you won't be disappointed, I'm pretty sure. If you're disappointed, there might be something wrong with you. That's all I'm saying. But I got a half hour to go with you. No, actually 24 minutes. 25 minutes, I guess, is what the clock starts at on the last break here. So let's see if we can wrap up in 25 minutes. Surely there's more to discuss. And you know what? You'd be right if that's what you thought. This one is kind of different. I just want to make sure I got it right here. This is another Brent Swanser article. This one's coming from May of 2015. So it's one of his older works, but let's take a read because I don't think I'm familiar with this one. And again, mysteriousuniverse.org. Check it out. Here is Mexico's bizarre zone of silence. This sounds kind of familiar, and that's why I decided to read it. It's like, I think I've heard something about this, but I want to make sure. And let's get into it. Find out what the Mexico's bizarre zone of silence is. So there's no denying that this planet of ours abounds with strange wonders. From the highest mountains to the most desolate deserts, to the eternal night of chasms at the bottom of the sea, there are anomalous places scattered throughout our world that have managed to elude our efforts to explain them, have challenged our views of reality, and have stoked the fires of our imagination for centuries. In the blazing, unforgiving Chihuahuan desert of northern Mexico, one such place exists, a wandering mystery zone where all forms of radio and television signals fail to penetrate, and which has been ground zero for a variety of UFO phenomena and numerous unexplained events. So the place doesn't it doesn't allow normal radio signals to penetrate? Wow. What has become known as the Zone of Silence, or La Zona del Silencio, is located in a barren patch of deserts in the Bolson de Mapimi region of Durango, Mexico, around 400 miles south of El Paso, Texas. It's a remote area with the nearest human settlement of any size being the quiet town of Ceballos, some 25 miles away, which ekes out a living in the harsh, parched landscape. The area once was under a vast ocean in prehistoric times, and marine fossils and shells can be found among the scrub, which has given the area its other nickname as Mar de Titis, or the Sea of Tethys, or Tethys. I don't know. This is a desolate, lonely place, seemingly as barren and as alien as the surface of some other planet, and over the centuries has become synonymous with a wide range of strange, inexplicable phenomena. Locals have known something is weird about the area since at least the mid-19th century, when farmers would occasionally complain of searing hot pebbles that mysteriously rained down from the sky from time to time, even on perfectly clear days. It was also said that some of the planets and animals living here displayed mutations and deformities. There have also long been reports that the area has the effect of instilling a certain sense of deep unease and can distort perceptions or cause visual and auditory hallucinations. The region has been known as an intense UFO hotspot for many years. Over the years, many reports accrued of travelers and ranchers in the area seeing orbs of light or fireballs cavorting about in the sky or streaking across the horizon. On occasion, these lights were said to descend and set the scrub brush ablaze. Nevertheless, despite the weird stories, the bizarre swath of desert remained mostly unknown to the outside world. This area came into public consciousness in the 1930s when a Mexican pilot by the name of Francisco Sarabia reported that his plane's instrumentation had gone haywire and his radio had ceased to function while on a routine flight over the region. In the 1970s, an Athena missile carrying containers of the radioactive element cobalt-57 launched from White Sands Missile Base in New Mexico and suddenly and inexplicably malfunctioned over the area and crashed. It was reported that the missile had suddenly veered wildly off course, almost as if it had been drawn by some mysterious force. Considering the rocket's radioactive payload, a recovery mission was immediately launched. The missile was eventually found in a remote area and removed along with tons of irradiated soil. When the military went to investigate, it was also found that radio signals and all communication equipment failed to work there for some unknown reason. A few years later, it was reported that booster rockets used for the Apollo project broke up and crashed into the area as well. That's not good. An organic chemist by the name of Harry de la Pena had already documented the zone's unique characteristic of creating a dark zone of radio communications. In 1966, while on a photographic survey, while out exploring with some companions, it was noticed that walkie-talkies ceased to operate in the area, and portable radios showed a dramatically diminished capacity, only barely audible even at full volume. It would later be found that television signals also failed to penetrate the zone, and to this day it is said that TVs will not work here. For whatever reason, the zone of silence seems to have the ability to severely dampen all television, radio, shortwave, microwave, or satellite signals, rendering all devices utilizing these all but useless. This phenomenon has since been studied by scientists from all over the world, yet no definitive cause has been found yet. It is thought that perhaps the effect is created by magnetic anomalies caused by a large amount of the iron ore magnetite in the area, as well as high level of meteorite activity, which has imbued the soil with various minerals and ores that could possibly create magnetic disturbances that have an effect on radio waves. There has also been discovered in recent years large reserves of uranium in the mountains facing the zone, although it is unclear what effect this would have on transmissions. One of the strangest things about the zone of silence is that it tends to move around, with its exact location shifting and unpredictable. Wow, what the hell? Really? So that's not just a mineral, and then at that point, not a presence of a mineral. That's got to be something else. Could there be something subterranean there? What would cause it to move around? Unless there's cloaked UFOs there. It could be. That is strange. Well, how the hell would it move, though? If it was a natural phenomenon, how would that migrate? Is it some kind of offshoot of the Earth's magnetic field, then just somehow concentrated in that one area? And maybe it migrates or moves due to the activity of the core? I don't know. That's very strange. That's got my head spinning. Magnetic anomalies and the ability of all manner of radio waves to work here are far from the only bizarreness of the zone of silence. For years there have been various strange accounts from people passing through the region of all manner of high strangeness. One reoccurring story is that a trio of blonde-haired strangers that are occasionally seen wandering the landscape here, allegedly the trio is made up of 2 males and 1 female who are dressed in clothes that are inappropriate for the desert environment. Those who have met them said they are very physically attractive, extremely polite, and speak perfect Spanish with a slightly musical lilt. The strangers are said to sometimes ask ranchers for water, but never food or anything else. And when asked where they are from, their typical response is to say, "From above." Oh man, are those the Nordics? Huh. These beings, whoever they are said to be non-threatening and, in fact, rather benevolent in nature. One scientist working in the desert biosphere research station in the area reported how he had wandered away from the facility and became lost. It was then that he was approached by a trio of tall blonde humanoids who guided him back to the research station before vanishing. Interestingly, the biosphere itself has garnered a reputation for mystery. Although its official purpose is to study desert life, it's often been rumored to be doing secret experiments with animals, researching UFO phenomena, and conducting psychic research. One bizarre account connected to the biosphere and this strange trio comes from journalist Luis Ramirez Reyes, who visited the zone in November of 1978 as part of a news team covering the mysteries of the area. At the time, their destination was the mysterious Biosphere Research Station, but Reyes and his photographer got lost in the desert on their way. Since they had not brought food or water with them, the gravity of their situation was abundantly clear. As they drove along, Reyes saw a trio of figures walking ahead and told the photographer, who was driving, to stop so they could ask for directions. But the photographer didn't see anyone and so continued on without stopping. A short while later, much further down the road, the truck again bizarrely passed the same trio once again. And once again, the startled Reyes told the driver to stop, but his companion still did not see anyone. Nevertheless, at the imploring of Reyes, he stopped the truck. Reyes claimed to have asked the trio if they had seen a truck like theirs pass earlier, but they said they had not. It was at this point that Reyes noticed that the people were not dressed or equipped at all for the harsh desert environment. Despite the fact that they were on foot out in the middle of nowhere, far from any settlements, when asked where the biosphere was, the odd strangers were only too happy to help, and pointed the journalists in the right direction. When they arrived at the biosphere, they told the staff there of their encounter, but were met with the insistence that the research facility were the only people out there for hundreds of miles. But who were those strangers? No one knows. There are other reports of strange beings here as well. Perhaps one of the most well-known accounts comes from a couple by the name of Ernesto and Josefina Diaz, who ventured into the area to collect fossils on October 13th, 1975. As they sifted through rocks, they noticed that a storm was brewing on the horizon. Aware of the danger of flash floods and sudden storms in the area, the couple hastily packed up and drove off, but were soon caught in a deluge of rain. Their new pickup truck became swiftly mired in mud, the tires quickly sinking down into the muck. As the couple struggled to free their vehicle, they noticed two unusually tall men wearing yellow raincoats and caps approaching them. The two strangers instructed the couple to get into their car while they pushed. When they complied, the truck was soon freed from the mud, but when Ernesto got out to thank the men, they were nowhere to be seen, even though the terrain was totally flat and devoid of places to hide. There were also allegedly no footprints of any kind in the mud to show that anybody at all had been there. Yet another odd tale was related by Ruben Lopez, who was on his way to visit a relative in Ceballos when his engine began to experience difficulties and stalled. He then noticed 5 small figures several feet tall by the side of the road, who he at first mistook to be children. Upon closer inspection, he could see the figures were wearing silver outfits and wearing helmets that opened in front, revealing clearly adult faces rather than the children he had been expecting. The figures began approaching the truck of the increasingly unnerved Lopez, who gunned the engine until it sputtered back to life, enough for him to leave the weird beings in the dust. As soon as they were out of sight, the truck allegedly began working normal. In the region in which the zone of silence lies also remains a hotbed of UFO sightings, with many high-profile accounts made here. One impressive sighting in particular happened in the September 1976. At around 8:59 p.m., residents of the town of Ceballos reported a truly immense flying object hovering at the outskirts of town, which was estimated to be a staggering 300 meters in length. The craft was described as being rectangular, and ringed with pulsing lights that changed colors from green to white to blue from deep within it. Some inscrutable machinery produced a deep thrumming and humming noise from its bowels. Allegedly, all the dogs in the area went berserk, howling and barking incessantly until the immense object finally floated over the landscape, to disappear from view in the direction of the zone of silence. Wow. The heavy UFO activity reported in the zone has caused speculation, running the gamut from plausible to fringe. Scientists tend to attribute the many UFO sightings here to the large number of meteorites that pass through the area. The Zone of Silence region boasts one of the highest concentrations of meteor strikes in the world, with small meteorites falling here practically daily. In fact, one of the largest known meteorites to ever struck the Earth crashed into the ground here at a place called Pueblito de Allende in February 1969. What is now known as the Allende meteorite came down at an estimated speed of 10 miles per second, creating a massive shockwave and cracking boom heard over vast distances. And that was one of the loudest sounds ever recorded. Witness said the flash produced by the meteorite impact was like looking into a flashbulb. Another odd meteorite containing unusual crystalline structures, estimated as being around 13 billion years old, far older than our solar system, crashed here in the 1950s, and there are constant falls of small metallic orbs in the area that locals called the Guyolas, or Yolas, Guyolas. I don't know how the hell to say that, but those things. Incidentally, the presence of small, spectacular meteorite activity may lie in an archaeological mystery to be found in the zone. Mysterious ruins that show no known link to known peoples of the area have been found that are estimated to be thousands of years old and are thought to have served as some sort of astronomical observatory, perhaps somehow linked with the intense meteorite activity. As of yet, no one knows the true purpose of this ancient observatory. It is also possible that the area's magnetic aberrations have the ability to cause potent hallucinations, a phenomenon that has long been reported from here by locals and travelers alike. Other theories point to aliens, with some theorizing that the zone represents a stopping zone for aliens or even a portal through which extraterrestrials or interdimensional beings travel. Magnetic anomalies such as those found in the Zone of Silence have long been associated with UFO activity, and the ancient astronaut theory, with such travelers being said to be drawn to these potent magnetic zones for unknown reasons. Those that subscribe to this theory point out that Mexico's Zone of Silence is near the Tropic of Cancer and lies along the same latitude south of the 30th parallel shared by other mystical sites such as the Egyptian pyramids and the Bermuda Triangle. Could the Zone of Silence be demonstrating phenomena similar phenomena that is seen within the Bermuda Triangle or other mystery zones? Wow, this is a big article. I got to look at the clock because we may not have enough time. We're okay for now. Although the presence of alien spacecraft and beings from another world cannot be supported by any evidence, it certainly seems that something strange is going on in the Zone of Silence. The area, with its magnetic aberrations, seems to have the ability to draw things into it. Perhaps the reason for why so many meteorites and rockets have come down here, and quite feasibly somehow connected to the various other phenomena reported from here. To this day, no one is quite sure just what is going on here, and TVs and communication equipment still fails to work properly when caught up in the roving, ever-shifting zone. See, that's weird to me. Why does it shift? What so imbues this patch of Mexican desert with its bizarre oddities? Does this have anything to do with all the ancient aliens, interdimensional portals, and travelers from other worlds? Or is this all merely an unexplained curiosity of the natural world, perhaps mixed in with a healthy dose of folklore and overactive imaginations? It seems this remote, searing land of brutal heat, scrub brush, and parched earth seems to be a place that holds mysteries that continue to elude us and perhaps always will. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. I've never heard of this place before. That's pretty incredible. I don't know what to make of it. The fact that mysterious zone moves, it's really creepy. That to me is really, really wild. Again, I don't claim to have any knowledge of geology or magnetism or any of the natural forces of the known Earth, but It doesn't seem like it should move. I forgot to get rid of the waterfall, didn't I? Let's try this. Hold on. And reconnecting now. There we go. Much better. Much better without the prancing fountain of noise behind me. But I like that story. I like it a lot. It's just very curious. Very, very curious stuff, ladies and gentlemen. So I wonder what you guys think of stuff like that. Did you enjoy the story? You have to let me know. I cover a lot of ground here on the portal, and some of it's it's kind of like whatever strikes my fancy at any given time. I'll be browsing through articles and reports and different sites, and some things really stick out as, oh, that'll be fun to talk about. That'll be interesting, but I don't know if you guys find it as interesting as I do or not, but I hope you do. I mean, things like that are quite peculiar because they allegedly, and I know this isn't any kind of exhaustive reporting going on this show or in most of the articles that I'm reading, but are there explanations for this? Is there an explanation for that field that just wasn't mentioned in the article, or has since been found since these questions emerge? And I don't know. Good stuff. Totally wish I could call on radio spot. Yeah. I wish you guys could call too. I really miss that. Again, you guys are a huge part of this show, and certainly the phone lines are pretty incredible. Part of what we do here when you guys can call in and share your stories, and I sure miss it. I will tell you that tomorrow I plan on really digging into it because, quite frankly, I need to have this solved before next Friday because I'm really looking forward to Deb being here and being able to do readings for you guys, and can do it. Great stuff. Paranormal Portal. Thank you, Aussie. I appreciate it. But yeah, I'm glad you guys like it. And, I just like to try to offer enough stuff that you guys are whatever appeals to everybody. And certainly when you're covering a topic such as the paranormal, it's a huge playing field. And there's so much that we can talk about and discuss and cover. But some of it's going to appeal to you. Some of it's not. Some of, different things to different folks. Different strokes for different folks. But I try to give a variety because I think that, we all have varied interest in different parts of this. I think I'm just pretty much fascinated by everything that's unexplained. And my reasonings are simple. And it was in my mission statement when I started the show. It's, our hubris would have you believe it's all labeled, it's all categorized, it's all figured out. Discovery is a thing that our ancestors did. It's all nailed down now. And I love the fact that it's not. I love that there's still magic in the world. There's still mysteries. There's still things we have to learn. And now, granted, we have a lot to learn, whether we know a lot already or not, but I don't think we know nearly as much as we think we do. And I think that the playing field is much more complicated and complex than a lot of physicists and scientists would have you believe, because I think that the playing field is subjective as well. And most, standard thinking people don't allow for that. It's like, this is what it is. This is what it is. We figured this out. That's what it is, and that's what it'll always be. But once we start digging in and finding out more about the phenomena in the world around us, then it comes with a whole new host of questions. So, know nothing. I know nothing too, Cha-Cha. But I'm trying to learn. I am. But I think one ID that followed its spirit familiar into a safe way and got lost. I guess that's a conversation that's ongoing. Okay. It's tough sometimes to just jump to the chat and try to figure it out because sometimes I don't know what the hell you guys are doing. But yeah, I have a lot of fun with this. And I hope you guys do. I hope you do. Let's see, where are we at? We got literally a minute left. So I guess once again, Paisley Wild will be coming up next, folks. So I hope you will stick around with her and hang out with Paisley and see what she's got in store for you tonight. Don will be here tomorrow night, so it's always a lot of fun when Don's able to come in and be a part of the festivities that are the portal. And I hope you will join us then, but hopefully I'm going to get these phones figured out in tomorrow. I hope tomorrow. But if not, then it'll be on my days off on Monday. Tuesday, I'll look into it and make sure that we start the next chain of live shows with the phones again, because I miss you guys. I just can't read articles and watch the chat at the same time. It's just not possible. So I don't know if you guys are calling out or saying something to me or not. And I do apologize. I know some hosts are really good at that. It might be just the way I've got my screens organized here, but I could probably do better. But anyway, folks, that's the bell. That means we're done here. Just hope you know I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day and make sure to laugh as much as you can. Spread the word about the portal far and wide. Let other people know what we're doing here. Tomorrow's Bring a Friend Day. Just saying. All right. Good night, guys. Love you bunches. See ya.
Censorship and regulation